Pretty soon. Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and my guest today is Kathy Hester. She's been a regular on Chef AJ Live for many years, but now we do the show only about once or twice a week as Chef AJ and Friends. And she's here because she has a brand new, amazing ebook that she's going to tell you about. She's going to be making some recipes from it, whole food, plant-based dry mixes, so that you can have dinner in minutes. Please welcome Kathy to the show. It's been a long time because you're never home.
It's true. I am almost never home. It's because we're doing the plant-based explorers. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, I want to know if I can travel as a plant-based person or vegan, go follow mine and Cheryl's channel, the Plant-Based Explorers too. So I'm so excited for this cookbook. I can hardly speak, which is
Wow.
crazy. This is kind of the cookbook I've wanted to write my whole cooking career. So I actually pitched this at one point, but it was right when Miyoko Shinner was doing the vegan pantry, and we have the same agent. So I
Oh,
wasn't able to, but it was okay because it was not its time. Now is its time. And I want you guys, I put a whole bunch of stuff like there's over 170 recipes in this book. So this isn't like your typical, oh, there are 30 recipes in this ebook for X amount of money. So it is a little bit more, but for a little while, at least this next week, it's 25% off. So if you know you want it, you should get it now. You can get it whenever you want, but you would get it at the cheapest price you can get it right
and
now.
what, how long do they have to get that 25% off?
At least a week, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe till
Why don't
it's
you say until November 1st?
okay, yeah.
That's good. That's fair.
Or let's do October 31st. The book actually comes out October 31st. So this is the pre-order. So this is something else to know. So if you haven't bought it is an ebook. But and let me show you I didn't bring this over. Um, because I had just spiral bound my Ninja Creamy ebook 3. So if you're a person who's like, I don't like ebooks, print it out double-sided or have someone print it out for you. Take it to Staples. It costs about $5 to $7. They put covers on it and this, and you can write all over it.
It's only $5 to $7 to get an ebook printed out.
To get it bound when you bring the printed pages.
Oh, I
It'll
see.
be like $40 if you have them print it, so don't do it.
Wow, that's still pretty good.
It is, but you know what? We all have a friend or a library where we can print these off if we don't have our own printers. Um, So, and also in this book, this will be the first one I'm not doing a photo for every single recipe because nobody needs to print out that many pages. And things like spice blends don't all, I'm going to have how to use all these. So like this is my tofu scramble blend. So you just squish up some tofu or some chickpeas and put this in, warm it up, and you have tofu scramble that easy. That I have some flavors like this is a ketchup flavor. I have my barbecue. I have ranch. I have taco for putting on like air fried chickpeas, right? So you can have like snack flavors that have no salt. The only blend that has any salt and it's optional is the tofu scramble for the kala namak, which makes it taste like egg. And Chef AJ, I heard you're having some salt now. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I've had I've
No,
had the
no, I'm not trying. I'm not being picky.
Oh, yeah,
As
no,
I'm
but
just
here's the thing. I've had this reputation of being plant perfect for years. I've never been perfect with salt. What I've always said is my recipes are SOS free, but that doesn't mean that Chef AJ personally doesn't eat salt. I generally don't add it to the food, but when it's in stuff, I've eaten it pretty much forever because I'm too lazy to buy to make, I know how to make ketchup, mustard, and barbecue sauce, but most of the time I'm too lazy. So I buy a brand that has it and it doesn't
right.
have oil. I'm really only the stickler with the oil, honestly.
Well, and I was just going to ask you, like, I know you can't have tofu because of your bean allergy, but have you tried using kalanamak in a chickpea scramble at
Chickpeas
all?
or beans?
Oh, shoot, they are, aren't they?
They sell these things at Whole Foods, and it's called it's like they sell these hard-boiled eggs. They're vegan.
Oh, those are, yeah, those are good. Wonder eggs, I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
call
I've
them.
always wanted to try that. That would be good on that.
Oh, it would be. And so it's kind of interesting. So those of you who do some salt, because it's a little less salty than just straight out salt. You can find it at the Indian market very inexpensively or on Amazon, but it makes things taste like egg. And it's true because you could do like a mung bean. No, it's still a bean. There's no egg for you, Chef AJ. Dang it. I will figure something out. But so what I usually do for a scramble, and I'm not going to demo it, is I just take some broccoli slaw, start sauteing it, put my scramble mix in, squish. I don't even press my tofu. I just crumble it in and cook the water out. And there you go. There's things like this is potato soup. This is cream of tomato soup.
That's incredible.
Isn't it wild? And if you go to my channel, Kathy Hester Vegan Recipes, I'm doing a lot of recipes with these. So I made this and I made the tomato soup so everybody could see. And I also made a quick oil-free sliceable cheese. And we made grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. And in that hour, I made the whole thing and I could have sliced it. And you can do beans, you could do cashews, or you could do oats as the base of that cheese. So just like everything else, there'll be some wiggle room. Um, this is my, and I'll let you see from the top. This is my onion soup mix. Did anybody grow up with their mom making meatloaf with onion soup mix? Because I
Yep.
made a bean loaf with this and quinoa, and it was fabulous. And that is also on Kathy Hester Vegan Recipes. So if you want to see some of the other things in action, but I have a bullion, and you can get the regular bullion on healthyslowcooking.com. But isn't it nice to have a dry bullion that just can sit out, right? So I have this is my chickeny bullion, this is my beefy bullion, and all of these have no weird things in them. They don't have any oil. They're most things are SOS free. Almost everything that I'm putting in there has a date or date sugar option. But like this is green Thai tea powder, and it smells so amazing. So the one on Amazon actually warns you about the food coloring in it and say it it's got mint and pandan, matcha, and I put decaf tea in here and date sugar. So if I want to mix this up with my favorite non-dairy milk, it's really inexpensive. And you know what? If I don't want to use this, this is going to be good next year. These things they're not made of things that are expiring. Most of my mixes are based on rolled oats. And then we have some other things like corn chowder and soy curls and rice that you can just throw in the pot and cook. So you can make like a month's worth or 3 months worth. So when you have that bit of energy, because I feel like it's winter and people can get a little low energy winter, the world is on fire. For whatever reason, it's on fire for you. It just seems like everyone is a little bit stressed out. So sometimes I just have just enough energy to take this mole powder and put some water with it, put it in the microwave, and put it over my baked potato. Because then I can have a mole baked potato one day, I have a nacho cheese powder that does just the same thing. And they're just so easy to make. I know that you and I have talked before because you're like, oh, but I don't want to make that. And sometimes there are sauces and dressings and things like that in the book. Everything isn't dry mixes. But I feel like the dry mixes are the easiest entry point into getting some of this made yourself. And with food kind of going up so much, when I went to Whole Foods the other day and I was like, It costs what for like a cookie mix? And I have a gluten-free cookie mix where you could just make one cookie at a time, either in the microwave or in your air fryer, and put whatever you want in it. You could use any sweetener you want, or not even put sweetener in there at all and mix it with date paste. So everything can be made for you. My apple pie spice has a little more nutmeg. Maybe you hate nutmeg, put less in, put something else in there. And it just, I've really enjoyed it. As I've been working on the book, I've had less time to do things, and I've been making all of this stuff, and it's been great.
Well, that's the number one question I get. Why don't you sell them?
Because that's a very expensive venture.
Really? I mean, how does Dylan do it? Maybe you could use his co-packer.
I don't know. Right now, I'd rather just put this in people's hands because I can't put it in your hands any cheaper than giving you an ebook. And
Got
I'm
it.
not saying it'll never happen, but I think too, when people see just how, like, let's make this mushroom gravy, right? Because you're like, well, it's great, Kathy. It's a powder, it's in a thing. Of course, it's easy to use. And in most things, the ingredients are quite simple and easy to get a hold of. There are a couple things with specialty ingredients that I either give you options or tell you where you can get it. But one thing that I told you, Chef AJ, is I'm so excited because I made a faux no soy sauce. I made it both a sauce and I have a powder because I do some prepared ramen with dried veggies and spices and things. And I got some dry miso for that. And now you can make that if you are salt and soy free, which I'm very excited about. So the mushroom gravy, I actually use potato flakes because I was doing a class and someone asked me to make it potato flakes. So there's the potato flakes. I'm just using Bob's Red Mill, non-GMO and vegan. It's just dried potatoes. And in fact, these potato flakes are McDougall approved even. This is mushroom powder. And I'll talk a minute about how you can buy or make your own even cheaper. And then this, I measured out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. Nutritional yeast, um, some garlic, onion, poultry seasoning, black pepper, and celery salt. Not celery salt, celery seed. And that is literally all that's in here. And you could, if you know after the first batch that you're like, this mushroom gravy is my thing, you could make a quart or half a gallon. You could like 10 times it, make it once every few months. And I just want everything to get good and powdered so that it'll be easier when I reconstitute it. I love the Beast Blender, but my hand, I always have to use the little thing. You're going to see the magic smoke. I feel like, boom. All right, so this is it. And see, it's the same thing. That's the whole process of making this. The end. Okay, so maybe I'm lying. I have to rinse the blender, right? But like, isn't that a lot easier than you expected it to be?
Yeah, well, that's why you probably don't need a photo with every recipe because, there's not really that much excitement in the actual spice.
Exactly. I'm doing like gravies because like there's mushroom gravy, there's my kind of chickeny golden gravy, there's white gravy, like southern white gravy. I think I have 5 different gravy recipes. Brown gravy. Cheryl wanted brown gravy. Okay, and now you're like, well, that's easy. It must be hard to make. All right, let's take a couple of tablespoons And the other thing is if you are living by yourself or you're the only one who eats this way, you can literally make a splash, just a splash of it, which I'm very excited about too. Because I think sometimes people who, oh, trying to make it right for you guys. There we go. Get a little closer. You could do non-dairy milk or water. I'm just going to do water because that way I can splash it everywhere like I did. A whisk is going to be your friend. And I'm going to put this on medium heat. And almost all the sauces and mixes are going to be very similar and that we're going to whisk, cook it till it starts getting thick. We could add a little more powder if it's not thickening up enough, but we have to give it a little while for everything to heat up. Or if it becomes too thick, then we just add some more water. So if you wanted this, you could also do a non-dairy milk to make this creamy, a creamy mushroom gravy if you want. But what I love is just not having to go, okay, I want mushroom gravy. I'm going to saute some mushrooms and do this. Oh, wait, I don't have any mushrooms cut up. Let me go cut some mushrooms. And especially if you're eating a mostly starch-based diet, like these things really can change. You could make baked potatoes for every day of the week. And then I did twice stuffed potatoes and I made one a taco potato. I used taco seasoning. I drizzled mole sauce and nacho cheese sauce over it that I made from the mixes in the microwave. I used the sour cream and onion one to put in the middle of the regular ones. So it's just, it's a different way of looking at things. And if you guys have some questions, see how it's starting to thicken up just ever so slightly. Now, with this is one of the ones that's not oat-based. The oat-based ones do get quite thick, but you can already see, I think there's a little bit of body coming on in there. And if you use salt, like I said, the scramble mix is the only one that has kala namak in the actual ingredients, but you could add sauce. So see how that's bubbling up a little bit. See how much thicker it's getting in almost no time. And then we're going to do the mole sauce in a sec. We're going to make it from scratch, and then I'm going to do that one in the microwave because that's a really easy way to do it too. And just remember, like to me, this is about how thick I would want it to be. So I probably want to turn the heat off right now because it's going to thicken up. And we'll put it off to the side. Like, what do you think? Does that look like yummy gravy you
It
want
looks
in a
like
mashed?
real gravy, like you'd see at Thanksgiving dinner.
Right? And it came from, whoop, where did I set the mix? Oh, here it is. And it came from this to this. And it's still real food. It's real mushrooms in there. It's going to taste really yummy and rich. Okay, so we'll set this aside, and if it gets a little bit stodgy, which it will, I'll show you how to fix that too. Now, I wanted to talk just a minute about mushroom powder because that's kind of the ingredient that's a little bit weird. They get big containers. Actually, I think I have one right here at Costco around the holidays. So you could use this to make your mushroom powder by just putting it in a blender. You might need to toast them a little bit in the oven if they don't seem really crisp. Same thing, these are Trader Joe's mixed mushrooms. I don't know if they have them right now because I found that in a stash. But also, if that's like, I don't want to make my own mushroom powder. Now, you just sold me on how easy this is, and now it's hard. At Amazon, you can buy mushroom powder. How do I usually do my mushroom powder? Is I take any leftover mushrooms I have and I dehydrate them in the Breville oven. If you have a regular dehydrator, that works. If you have one of those white inexpensive ones, you can often find those at thrift stores or on Facebook Marketplace. A lot of times, even in your Buy Nothing group, people are giving them away for free. So this is from the other day. I pulled out all the mushroom stems, tore them in 4 pieces, and dehydrated them. I'll keep them here until this is full and there's enough for me to powder. I had some leftover sliced shiitakes, and I just dehydrated them instead of throwing them in the freezer. So when it's time, I'll just pop these in. So what I don't want you to think is I'm going to take 4 days, 1 day to go shopping for the mushrooms, 1 day to cut up the mushrooms, 1 day to dehydrate the mushrooms, and now I'm making mushroom powder. And on day 5, I'm going to make this. No, this is just an ongoing thing, or buy mushroom powder. It's really pretty easy. I do a similar thing with ancho powder. And this time I went ahead and bought some ancho powder, but you can also just get guajillo or ancho chilies, even at Walmart. Take the stem seeds out, dehydrate them or toast them in the oven, put them in your Vitamix if you have enough, or a small blender, and you have fresh chili powder, and it's going to taste better than anything you've ever had. But if that's too much to ask, buy chili powder. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you and doesn't, if that makes sense. Let me show you this gravy again, because now it's still pretty good. I'm wanting it to have a big skin on it, but see how it thickened up a little bit more just from the extra heat. I think I stopped at the right time instead of as usual. Okay, now let's make our mole mix. And this is the mole mix. Okay, so like many of the powders, I'm using rolled oats. And I get these at Costco fairly inexpensively. They're sprouted, they're gluten-free.
I love those because Lissa can eat them.
They're really yummy, and I feel like there's just such a good base for things. And they're not that expensive. Now, the one thing that usually goes in mole is some cocoa powder. You could use carob powder or you could leave it out if you don't do any kind of caffeine. I do know that Dr. Greger just came out with a little bit of cocoa a day is a good thing. So you do what's right for you. I'm going to put some nutritional yeast, give it a little bit of that savory umami, some chili powder. And then here, this was the hardest thing to measure out. We've got Mexican oregano. We've got, let's see, some date powder. So also, Costco was good to me recently. They had Date Lady date sugar.
You're kidding. I didn't see that at my Costco. That would be epic.
Yeah, I'm thinking of stocking up actually, because look at just how finely ground that is. It's really finely ground, so I feel good about that. We've got some cumin, we've got some garlic and onion powder, we've got a little bit of cinnamon. And if you don't have Mexican oregano, you can usually find it in Hispanic market, but you could use marjoram in a pinch because it's closer to marjoram than it is regular oregano. All right. So again, the long, hard process of putting things into the blender. And so I'm envisioning you take 1 day a quarter or 1 day a month and make a few powders to stock up with. And there we have it. It smells really good. And it's just that easy. So, speaking of easy, we're going to make just enough mole for me to put on my baked potato. Okay, so I'm going to get about a tablespoon of mix. And I'm going to put in some water. And this is how I usually make it in our house too. Okay. And if you have a really powerful microwave, you could put it at 50%, or you could just do it for like 30 or 40 seconds at a time. I'm going to do about 40. And if it looks like it made a little like mole muffin, all we have to do is add more water and kind of keep stirring it up. And we can go back and forth with this. So it can take a little bit of getting used to about how much to put in, what heat you like to cook it on, but it's very simple. It's just very, very easy. Okay. Give it it should be, yeah, I'll stop it a little early. We'll take a look. Yeah, it's made a little mole muffin is what I call this. So it looks like it's cooked, it's baked, but it's really just thick. And also, as you're doing, you could have it this thick. We probably don't even need to cook it much more. And you can keep thinning it down. If I go too far, I can put it back in the microwave and thicken it back up. That's still pretty thick. And it just depends on what you want. Like when I'm taking a photo with it, I want it to drizzle more. If I'm eating it, oftentimes I want it thicker. But you could use this as a sauce for enchiladas on your tacos. So let me hold it from down there. And see, it's still pretty thick. You can kind of see that. So what do you think, Chef AJ, so
I love
far?
that. That looks like real enchilada sauce without
Right? And
junk.
I would have never, ever thought that a mix would come and make it like this. This is kind of why I wanted to come on to show people, because the mixes my mom used to make were always pasty and kind of not very nice. Um, and does anybody have any questions
Oh
about
gosh, let
some?
me look. I know a few people have bought. Thank you very much. Because I
Oh,
think you're
yay,
getting
thank
yeah,
you.
just I'm putting the link in the chat in the show notes. They get 25% off if they purchase by the day that the book comes out, which is Halloween.
Yep. And so what's going to happen now for you're pre-ordering right now. So when you go and you sign up and you go to Thrivecart, the book won't be there. However, there will be there's a thing that's like Potions and Powders Book One pre-order goodies. And so you get 2 full classes from me. You get one on overnight oats. And this is one of the overnight oats I made that has PB2 and cocoa in it. But there's a plain recipe, so you can kind of embellish it as you wish. I travel with this. So then I can just put I take another mason jar, put some of this in, mash a banana, put some non-dairy milk in, and then tomorrow I wake up and eat my little breakfast in the hotel or on the cruise or wherever I am. And I even have this little camping kit with like all these little test tubes that has the mixes. So like there's sauce mixes like a pesto mix, a Middle Eastern chickpea sauce. There's mac and cheese sauce, dry sauce, that you could obviously use on anything. It'd be great on zoodles. Let's see what, this one's the brown gravy. I'm trying to see what else I brought up here to show you. Oh, and there's a chocolate sauce mix that's dry. So you could even bring that to a friend's house and use that there.
That's cool. Can you do it with carob powder?
Yeah, there wouldn't be any problem at all doing it with carob powder. And this is the Middle Eastern chickpea sauce. I know looking at them, you're like, ooh, ah, it's hard to envision, but you saw these sumptuous sauces. Because I really feel like, especially with the oats, cooking them and getting them warm, since you've already kind of made them into a powder by putting them in the blender, it just makes it really thick, sumptuous, a really nice mouthfeel. So it doesn't feel like, oh, well, at least I have something. It's like having this mole sauce, and the nacho cheese looks just like nacho cheese when I make it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the cheese one.
Do you want me to make some?
Yeah, I mean
I
that's
got,
my favorite because I I buy it at this place called Auburn Bodega. It has a little salt, but it's the best I've ever had. But it goes bad if you don't eat it within a few days.
okay, let me see which, I'll
There.
make a little cauldron of it. I've got a cauldron
Hey,
right
speaking
here.
of speaking of cauldrons, what are you going to be for Halloween? I have a great costume. I don't want to tell anybody, but I will tell you this: it involves four other people. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
if any of us don't show up, it's not going to work. So we just lost our place for the meetup due to rain. So we're working on getting another location, you know?
Oh, no. I'm going to be a witch. Imagine that. I need to make some more nacho cheese powder. That's okay. So for about a 2 tablespoons, you're going to use about a quarter cup of liquid. I like to use some non-dairy milk in this to make it extra creamy, but in a pinch, you can totally make this with water too. We'll do it in the microwave again. Let me see if this whisk will fit in here. Oh, good, it does.
So that's it. You have to add you have to warm it up, right?
Yeah, we're going to warm it up. And I think it needs just a little bit more than that.
And so basically it's nutritional yeast and oats.
Yeah, and a few spices because it's nacho cheese. So I've got some jalapeno in there. I've got a little bit of just like kind of like with the mole, you're going to have quite a few different little things you're doing.
And the thickness is dependent on how much of the liquid you add, right?
Right, and or how long you cook it.
Oh, so cooking it longer makes it thicker?
Yeah, I'm going to put a little salt in this because I'm going to give this to Cheryl. You don't have to put salt in this. You could use your favorite salt substitute. I think this may still need to go a little bit. All right, so let me let you, this is what I'm putting in now. See,
Wow.
probably could use a little bit more liquid, but I'm just going to put it in on the back side. Get for about 45 minutes. I have a pretty powerful blender. I mean, microwave, it's 1200 watts. So that's why my cooking times are low. If you have like a little bitty microwave, you might do 2 to 3 times as long as I'm doing it. But if you do it in 45-second increments until you figure it out, you won't mess up. So it's pretty easy. And I was thinking too, let's see. I'm trying to get some pictures lined up so you could see a couple of the pictures at least that I could share with you. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, and whenever you're doing it in the microwave, you definitely want it um, to not cook all the way down. You want to make sure you're checking. So see how it looks a little darker on the edges, almost like it's a nacho cheesecake, right? Right there.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to just get whisked in. And then we'll add a little bit more non-dairy milk. to make it silky. But it's crazy because it's better to me than any kind of vegan nacho cheese I've been able to get at the store. And those things are like $8 to $10 now. This is oats, nutritional yeast, and some spices. And see, look at that. I'll show you from the front too. Right? And if I wanted to be thicker, I could go ahead and put it in the microwave a little longer. Also, since it's warm, it's going to continue to thicken up a little bit. So
I know
like
that you always had a great recipe for a queso, I believe made with cauliflower, but this is even easier.
there is nothing easier than this. I do also on healthyslowcooking.com, I have the one for the cauliflower. I have one that uses oats and the Vitamix blender and a little bit of cornstarch. But some people can't have cornstarch for allergies, or some people just don't do as well with it. And there isn't any. What's making this thick is cooking the oats with liquid. Couldn't be more simple, right? I feel like it couldn't be more whole food plant-based. I know it's a little bit of a different mindset because yes, we do want to eat whole food plant-based, but we're going ahead and getting sauces and things anyhow. And making them with oats is still better than getting one that's thickened with some other things that don't agree with you. So here let's see if this will show through the way I want it to or not. Here, I'll make it big just so you can see, like that's the Thai green tea. There's the cookie mix. There's the faux soy sauce, black bean chili, some Italian dressing. That's my onion soup mix. And I think that that's just great, right? I mean, you're going to get some pictures. You're going to get a bunch of recipes. And even things like there's going to be a vegan fishless sauce, homemade Worcestershire sauce, homemade ketchup, all of those things too. But like I have an Italian dressing mix, and you can make Italian dressing with a little bit of vinegar and some aquafaba. So the dry mixes I think are really interesting, and also just having some things like this. Like I bought this corn. You could dehydrate corn. This is a corn chowder soup mix that all I have to do is put it in the Instant Pot with some water or on the stove top with some water, and then I have a soup. And usually I make these soup mixes at the end of the year and I give them as holiday presents too. So I make some for me and some for friends. And they're also nice to have on hand in case maybe someone goes to the hospital or gets sick. It's just a nice thing you can bring over. So
Oh, here's a question. I'm sorry I missed it, Ronnie. What if you are allergic to oats or have a weird sensitivity? What would you use in the powders?
I probably would use the potato flakes.
Hmm.
And that should work every time. Yeah, oats, there are some oat sensitivities. It's just that's the least one that I've been able to find. So, but yeah, using potato flakes, that's going to thicken it. These two mixes used oats and they thickened up fast. It took a little longer for the potato flakes to cook and reconstitute and thicken up. So that's all. But yeah, you could totally do a 1-for-1 on that.
Cool. Well, Kathy, I wish you every success with the book.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just so excited. And oh, also with the pre-order, we're working on getting the lives up that I've done. We're going to edit them for length, and I'm going to give you some of these recipes as a bonus so you can get them before the book comes out even.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm glad you did this book. How many savory recipes versus like how many dessert
Oh
recipes?
gosh. I don't know right now, but it's very few savory recipes. I think I have three sweet drinks, the chocolate sauce, the caramel sauce. I would say it's less than 10 sweet recipes and about 160 savory recipes. It's not, they're about. I'm still working on everything, so that could change a little, but it definitely skews savory.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have any questions for Kathy, or you want to take the time now to just push that button, click that link, and order that book because it's 25% off until Halloween.
Yup. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So once you reconstitute, like say the cheese sauce, and maybe you didn't use it all, you just stick it in the fridge and use it again?
Absolutely. And just know that it probably is going to solidify a little bit. So you will have to whisk in some more liquid. It might even be easier to whisk in some liquid after you microwave it for about 20 seconds, just to kind of make it a little softer. Because I don't know about you, but like if I put some in now and I started whisking, all that water or liquid just pops right out. So if you let it get a little bit and kind of use your whisk underneath, that's what I would say.
Yeah. What's that appliance behind your right shoulder? It kind of looks like a gumball machine.
It's a grinder. It's out there. So it's a mill. So I can mill my own grains. So that's going to be probably my next hyperfixation excitement at some point. Because I found that when we were in Europe, I didn't have any gluten allergies. Nothing happened so like what happens is my joints swell up. And so I wanted to try some experiments with some organic wheat or some wheat from other places or other varieties. So that's on my agenda. What
Uh,
have you been playing with lately?
What have I been playing with? Well, because you taught me how to use the Ninja Crispy, I started reluctantly using that, but once I do it, then it's easy. What have I, make just Lisa and Nate are visiting next week, so I'm doing all
Ooh,
kinds of raw things and making a lot of raw desserts so that they'll have something to eat. I love doing that. Yeah.
oh, fun.
Yeah, they're just so rich though. I mean, for them to taste good, it's so much easier now having those oats, the sprouted oats that they can eat to make it a little lower in calorie density, but all the good raw stuff is like, really rich with nuts and dates. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different way of eating totally though. So I think it all works out in the wash though,
Yeah, but
doesn't it?
I mean, her food is so, I wish you could taste it. She's bringing the tostadas with her. She makes the shells
Ooh.
and it's just got her. If, people would eat raw food if it was Lissa's food. I mean, I guarantee it would be so easy if we could have Lissa's food.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's so good. I visited her last week in Vegas. You got to go to Vegas, baby. That's where the action is. It's so fun. Okay, so hey, Sherry, nice to see you. Missed you in Vegas. I hope you'll come next year. She says, I just jumped on and don't know what today's topic is, but I need a plant-based milk maker. I know Kathy has a lot of videos, but it's overwhelming. Which one does she recommend for someone who does not want to strain the milk?
If you don't want to strain the milk and you're not looking to make soy milk, the Nama M1 is fantastic.
Yeah, and Kathy did a video on my show about that. That's the
Yeah.
one I had. I had the Nutrimilk, and you don't have to strain it, but I think they might be out of business now, and it's a very large and kind of clunky machine.
And I think the pricing is about the same as Nama M. And what I will say too, like if you make almond milk in the Nama M, they have such a nice dry almond pulp. And I put a little lactic acid, a very little nutritional yeast, and a dash of salt or salt substitute. And I make queso fresca for it to put on top of my tacos or
Ooh,
tostadas.
nice. Nice.
So next year I'm going to be doing a milk creamer and milk pulp book at some point.
You're
I'm not sure
kidding.
when that's happening, but that's on the agenda. The other option for you is the almond cow, and I don't love the almond cow. I know some of you have it and love it, and more power to you. I just feel like you're paying a lot for not a very powerful motor. The Miomat is my favorite if you're going to make soy. Miomat. Even cooked soybeans in the Nama, it just made like hummus. So it made unusable okara, and I use it in recipes. But the Miomat doesn't strain itself, but Eric has just come out with a stainless steel, very fine mesh strainer. So I'm just waiting on mine so I can do the demo. So as soon as I have that, and then that might change your mind too. I don't know.
Nice.
Yay.
So basically what you're saying is if you're not interested in making soy milk, you recommend the Nama over the meal mat.
Yeah, if the Meow about half the price of the Nama, too. So you've got to kind of look at it like that. Also, I will say to everyone, which I always say, if you're looking to make oat milk, you don't need a milk maker at all. Can you make it in one? Yes, but you're not going to use heat. So you can make it in the Nama, you can make it in the Meomat. If you make it in the Meomat, use the smoothie setting, not the grain setting, because you won't be happy. But you can just use a blender for that. It's really easy.
Nice. Okay. So question from Joni, what was the machine Kathy used to make the powder?
This is the Beast blender. So the reason I like it is it has smaller containers, but you could use a spice grinder. You can use, actually for the ones I made today, I could have used my regular Vitamix, and often I will. Um, Here, I think I have the smallest container. The smallest container is this size, which is really great for spice blends. It's almost as powerful as the Vitamix. And I got mine, it's not there anymore, but I got mine at Costco and they clearanced them out for $60. So I have this one and a backup because that was still cheaper than getting one Ninja blender. But you could use a spice grinder or a coffee grinder or whatever your regular blender is. I will say with the mixes, especially the ones you're going to cook and thicken, the finer you can get it, the better. It just makes it easier for you later.
Perfect. And Apple's so cute because she typed in caps and she said, I'm not yelling. I know Chef AJ loves caps. And I do because then I don't have to put my glasses on to read it. And Apple said, could Kathy talk about storing the mixes, how to keep them dry, and how long will they last? Great
Oh,
question.
those are awesome questions, Apple. Okay, so I'm storing them in different mason jars. That's kind of why I brought some of this out. I have all kinds of things from like this went to an old yogurt maker. This isn't going to be so good because it's not as airtight. But I got these containers at TJ Maxx recently, and they have a little silicone lip. These were actually quite inexpensive for glass containers. And so it is glass, which you may or may not like, but this seals it. Another thing, if you live in a humid environment, which I don't think you do, Chef AJ,
Did you say a human environment? Oh.
humid.
Well, no, I only have one dog, but okay, yes, no, I do not tolerate humidity. I don't, that's why I love the desert. No, no humidity here.
And see, I feel the opposite. I feel like I can feel the moisture leaving my body when I'm in a really dry environment. But if you're in a humid environment, it's even more important to keep everything dry. So if things start to clump up a little bit, you can put it in the dehydrator and blend it again. But you can also, if you have any, like if you take vitamin D or vitamin B or something like that, with the desiccant packs that are in there, you can also buy desiccant packs in Amazon. Or if you have friends that maybe take some medication, you could get some from them and you can plop one in. Just make sure not to cook it, right? Make sure you're not doing anything bad with that. Some of these, like some of these soups I made last year and I've been making them and they're great. I made this one at least a year ago, if not longer. And oats don't tend to go bad or rancid very quickly. Something that like this has soy curls in it, it's going to have a much shorter shelf life than this oat tomato soup. And in uh, the tomato soup, I'm using also a little bit of soy milk powder, but you could also buy oat milk powder or just use extra oats. Just depends. And I'll tell you about that in all the recipes too. So like if you don't have an ingredient, like if you wanted to make the ramen, but you don't have miso powder, you could just put a note to yourself on there, add miso when I make it, right? So there's a lot, you could leave the milk powder out, be it soy or oat, and just put whatever non-dairy milk in it when you reconstitute
Which
it.
do you use a particular brand of milk powder? I know you can get them on Amazon and
I've been using now I for the soy milk. I'm waiting on oat milk. Like they didn't have oat milk powders a while ago when I looked, and now there were a whole bunch. So I'll tell you more about that once they come, if there's one that I like better than the other. I do love a soy milk powder, but I also can do soy. So that, and you're not putting so much in, but I think it can make things super creamy. Like I use that in my ranch spice as well, but you could use oats if you needed to.
great. Well, Kathy, hopefully this book will fly off the shelf, not literally because it's a virtual ebook, but want people to get this book to see how easy it is to make meals in minutes.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you.
I'd have you on more, except you're never home and we can't really broadcast from the middle of the ocean, can we?
We've done it a couple of
Oh, well, cool.
times.
All right. Well, thanks, Kathy. Get that book now for 25% off. You have about another week or 10 days until Halloween. And please come back Wednesday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. for Dr. Nicole Avena, one of the world's leading experts on food addiction and sugar addiction. Just in time for Halloween, she's going to be sharing some new research with you and how you can participate in a study. Take care,